Hi everyone, it's Bells. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a good old-fashioned bookshelf tour. It's been a while, actually almost exactly a year. It was one of the first videos I ever put on my channel, and now we're gonna do it again. We've got 3 shelves full of books. I will show you first how I organize everything, and then we will just go through every book one by one. So grab a snack, grab some tea, and let's bring on the books. So as you can probably see, we've got red, orange, it's a rainbow on top. We've got white through black on the middle. I don't like splitting up series that are already together, so my 3rd shelf down here is all for my series, and I'll show you some B footage over that. I used to separate my fiction and nonfiction. Now I don't do that because I like the way that the colors look, although honestly, if we're being real here for a second, I don't think I would do this color coding if I didn't have as many books as I had. I think if I had even like one other full bookshelf full of books, I think this would be an absolute total hassle to try and find anything. I have enough of a hassle trying to find stuff with like this many books. This is not like an organization thing I would recommend, other than that it's like cute. It looks like really aesthetic and really nice. But for now, everything is organized by color, fiction, nonfiction, it's a party. On the bottom row, I just have stuff that doesn't fit anywhere else, like cookbooks, notebooks, a couple extra books that I didn't have any space for, photo albums. And then on top, we've got some keepsakes, some fake plants. You know, let's move on to all of the books. So we've got the red and orange shelf. The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas is the first book on here. Red Clocks by Lenny Zumas. Still haven't read it. You're gonna see a theme here. I haven't read most of the books on this shelf. We've got Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. This is one of my guilty pleasure books. As you can see, I've read like 20 pages of it the last time I wanted to read it. We have all of these gorgeous Battle Angel Alita copies. Don't fall. A lovely little mass market of Interview with the Vampire. And Rebecca. 2 iconic books by 2 iconic women. The anniversary edition of Fahrenheit 451, which was one of my favorite books in high school. Yes, I do own a copy of the Devil Wears Prada book. No, I have not read it. It will come eventually. Bring Up the Bodies. This is the 2nd book in the Wolf Hall trilogy. Now this is one of the best nonfiction books I've ever read. I cannot praise this book enough. What We Don't Talk About When We Talk About Fat by Aubrey Gordon. Highly, highly recommend. Black Boy Out of Time. This is a lovely autobiography and has such a gorgeous cover. This is the first copy of Warbreaker you're going to see today. This was a book swap with a friend that I never gave back to her, and then I moved to Canada. So A Bright Red Screen by Marilee Strong, Felicia, so sorry. Kaikeyi by Vaishnavi Patel. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to read this. I love the cover of this. I think it's gorgeous. Guns, Germs, and Steel, The Fates of Human Societies by Jared Diamond, and is a big chonker. This is a nice classic fantasy I haven't gotten around to trying out yet. King's Dragon by Kate Elliott. You can blame Robin Hobb for not picking this one up yet. Then I've got another of Dan Brown's books, The Da Vinci Code. I love the Robert Langdon books. So we've got Gangsterland by Todd Goldberg. This is my partner's book. I have no idea what it's about. Scott Pilgrim, the 1st volume in color. This is my first copy of The Shining. I really do like the cover on this one. Sold by Patricia McCormick, another autobiography about a woman who hangs out with a cat in the middle of the jungle. We have Halsey's gorgeous collection of poetry. This one still has the sticker on it from the used bookstore I bought it by, but Journey to the Center of the Earth. Just a little guy. We've got Detransition Baby by Tori Peters. Mexican Gothic, of course, one of my all-time favorite books ever. So this is funny. I actually found this on a free book stand just in the middle of Toronto. Just a random table with a bunch of books on it. So I have the 3rd Outlander book, which so far is my favorite. Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder. Clearly a well-loved copy. This was my favorite book as a teenager. The Good Sister by Sally Hepworth is a thriller I picked up on my recent little library escapade. You can go and watch that video right after this one. I'll put the link link down below. Another Anne Rice novel, The Mummy, a very loved copy of Stardust by Neil Gaiman, adult fairy tale, and this gorgeous copy of Frankenstein. I absolutely love this edition. Neil Gaiman's American Gods. I think this cover is so cool. I have such a love relationship with these old-fashioned painting covers. All's Well by Mona Awad. The ultimate Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, all 5 novels in this beastie boy. Gone by Michael Grant. This was my other favorite novel as a teenager. The Happiness Hypothesis by Jonathan Haidt. And finally on this shelf, we have Snow Crash by Neil Stephenson. This was pitched to me as a less misogynistic Ready Player One. So here's hoping this is good. This is the last shelf of colored books. We've got Self-Made Man by Nora Vincent, Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sue Lynn Tan. One of the most beautiful covers I've seen in a really long time. We've got The Life You Were Born to Live by Dan Millman, Wild by Cheryl Strayed. This book is probably one of my favorite autobiographies. And we've got another Dan Brown book. This is not a Robert Langdon book, surprisingly. This is Deception Point. Anna Kendrick's Scrappy Little Nobody. I've read this once and it was fun. Stiffed, The Betrayal of the American Man by Susan Faludi, an amazingly in-depth psychological evaluation of the patriarchy's effect on men. We've got Running by John Stanton. This looks like a nerdy little book, and that's because it is. Oh my gosh, we have The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. This was my favorite book of last year. Snow by Orhan Pamuk. The Ballerinas by Rachel Kapelk-Dale. One of the few thrillers I've ever thoroughly enjoyed. And we've got Howl's Moving Castle. This such a cute little edition. And of course, my gorgeous complete novels of Jane Austen. I mean, just look, I'm so sorry. What? It's just perfect, and perfect to put at the end of this purple rainbow shelf. Alrighty, and we're on to my white to black shelf. So I've got a lovely flowery skull to start things off, and we're gonna start off with a bang with Neil Gaiman's Coraline. This is a collection of essays, Queer There and Everywhere, edited by Sarah Prager. We do have Stephen King's On Writing. We've got the absolutely gorgeous Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon Eternal Edition. Look at how it glitters! We too, Essays on Sex Work and Survival. This is also a collection of essays edited by Natalie West with Tina Horn, all written by different sex workers in different industries. Phenomenal. This was my book to beat last year. I just adored this guy. The Once and Future Witches by Alexi Harrow. 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. Jose Saramago's Blindness. The second Dan Millman book is Way of the Peaceful Warrior. Walden 2 by B.F. Skinner was a book recommended to me by my psychology professor that I might enjoy. It's not really a plot-based fiction, but it's a fun little thought experiment. Ken Follett's Whiteout. Sunland Ascends by Josiah Bancroft. This was such a unique fantasy. I've got this great edition of The Other Bullen Girl by Philippa Gregory, and I adored this. My partner's favorite book, The Solitaire Mystery by Justine Garter. This kind of sad copy of Love and Shadows by Isabel Allende. Next to this gorgeous brick of a book, Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. No, I have not started it. Maybe I will eventually. So on this shelf, you can see we've got a couple of collectibles, but again, we'll start over here. This is the second book in Jared Diamond's trilogy on societies. So this is Collapse, How Societies Choose to Fail or Succeed. Probably a good read as we watch the destruction of the United States. Reflections on Body Dysmorphic Disorders. Definitely a good resource. Bone Shaker by Cherie Priest. Every single Agatha Christie Hercule Poirot mystery. And here is my copy of Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel. Ruined historical fiction for me forever. Although Ken Follett's Pillars of the Earth is a pretty solid historical fiction as well. We've got another Gothic, The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield, also with the library sticker still on it. Go to your library's book sales, guys. This is a collection of Agatha Christie's spookiest stories. We've got a bit of a battered copy of The Picture of Dorian Gray and Anne Bishop's Written in Red. This guy is a first edition of The Shining by Stephen King. As you can see, it was a very generous Christmas gift. I love it. I can't wait to reread this on this copy. And what it's resting on, my amazing new leather-bound edition of Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson, which if you've been here for any amount of time, you know is my all-time favorite book. It's truly so stunning. Our last shelf here, we've got Certain Dark Things by Sylvia Moreno Garcia, also with one of the most beautiful covers. Now, I don't think I have talked about this book nearly enough on my channel. If you're willing to go through the tedious process of reading it, it's totally worth it. Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky, another favorite of last year, amazing horror. This is Jerusalem by Alan Moore. I frickin' adore the way that this cover looks. You can tell I like my big books. We got an amazing copy of Anna Karenina featuring a beautiful little booty. This is Sex at Dawn by Christopher Ryan and Cecilda Jetha. This is your warning about buying used books online. But it does give it some flavor. Another Agatha Christie. You can tell we like mysteries in this house. This is And Then We Were None. No, And Then There Were None. I can read. A little copy of Phantom of the Opera. Terry Pratchett's The Color of Magic. I think this is his first Discworld novel. This is also a long-standing favorite of mine, although it may have been beaten out by a couple newer books that I've read, but River God by Wilbur Smith is an amazing ancient Egypt epic. Domino by Ross King. Jane Eyre. We've got The Seventh Scroll by Wilbur Smith. This is the second book in the River God trilogy. Only read these two. If you're gonna read them, don't read the rest. And we've got this gorgeous copy of Wuthering Heights. I am obsessed with it. And finally, a gift from my dad. I have a 50th anniversary edition of The Elements of Style. And of course, a little cat candle tucked away back here. All right, we're coming down to our series shelf. So these are all fairy tale books. I'm not gonna show you all of them, but they all kind of look like this, collected and edited by Andrew Lang. Just an absolutely crazy amount of fairy tales. And you guys all know how much I love my fairy tales. Then we have some mass markets of a couple of books in Robin Hobb's Realm of the Elderlings series. So this is Assassin's Quest, the third one in the First Year trilogy, which I just finished and broke my little heart. And then we have The Fool's Errand and The Fool's Fate, which is from her third trilogy, books 7 and 9. This is what happens when you go used book shopping. Some candles and my amazing set of weird little Bibles that are my Game of Thrones copies. They've got these like super small little Bible-y pages. Absolutely hilarious. This is what I like to call my nerd shelf. I have a figurine of Katniss the Mockingjay and the little guitar player from Mad Max. I've got my favorite stuffies when I was a kid, a little pack of Magic the Gathering cards that I've just left here, and of course, my Lord of the Rings Tolkien collection. These are dictionaries, atlases, character descriptions, hobbits, gorgeous leather-bound copies, absolutely stunning. Then of course, we've got my childhood copy of The Hobbit, and then I have my absolutely stunning hardcover editions of the Lord of the Rings books. They all look like this, and they're so absolutely gorgeous. I love them. I love them. I love them. Finally, I have a huge set of the Histories of Middle-earth by Tolkien. So these are just a bunch of other stories in Middle-earth, in the world. This is a candle from my partner and I's wedding, and you can tell we are both nerds because the inscription is in Elvish. And finally, we have My Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and Brandon Sanderson shelf. So this is the Mistborn box set. My partner is reading the first one currently, but we've got all three of them. Then we've got some used copies of Oathbringer and Words of Radiance, which are both from the Stormlight Archive. I do have The Way of Kings, but I have been putting off continuing to read it, but I'm still pretending I'm reading it, so it's on my desk. And then I have this gorgeous copy of Rhythm of War that I also got used, but it's never been read, worth the $40 I think this cost. I did not pay $40. And then I've got all of my Girl with the Dragon Tattoo books, which I also really, really, really love. We'll just do a brief overview of the third shelf. We have a bunch of plays over here, some self-help books, all of our cookbooks and notebooks, and then I've got some writing books, a couple Stray and Rice novels down there, a picture from my graduation, coloring books, and a Stray Rubik's Cube. Here's my lovely top shelf. That book at the back there is actually a light. This is a book embosser that my lovely friend got me for my birthday. Fake plants, of course. These are photos from my years in cheerleading. Very fun time. Tucked behind it, we've got some sage, Palo Santo, and a very old disposable camera that I've never pulled the film out of. Finally, I have my degree from acting school, a lovely candle, and then we have 2 different Shakespeare editions, and then we also have the treasured writings of Khalil Gibran. And there you have it. That's the whole bookshelf. Thank you so much for watching. If you have watched all the way to the end, thank you so much for being here. Last week I put out a 24-hour readathon where I read a bunch of horror books, and it was super fun, so go and check out that video if you haven't already, and I will see you all very soon with my next video.